Hi, I'm Kendall, and I work in MetaSpace 511. Today, for this week's Kids Who Code, we are going to be making a Flappy Bird game. So let's go! The first step of our Flappy Bird game is to add the flap effect and the sound. So, right here we have a green event block. Event blocks are blocks that will start when a certain thing happens. So in this case, when we click the screen, we can add blocks to occur after that happens. So let's add the flap block underneath one click, and then we also have a play wing sound underneath that. So now, when we click, the bird will flap and it'll play the wing sound. Once you have these in here, press run and let's see if it works. Alright, we'll start clicking. Once you get to the target, you know that you've done it. So, let's go to the next step. For step number 2, we have a new event block. This event block is called When Hit the Ground. So, as it says, when the bird hits the ground, we want to add something that happens. In this case, we want to end the game. So now that you have your end game block attached to your event block, let's press run and see if we can get it to work. So, once you click and then let it drop, the game is over and we know it works. Let's go to the next step. For step 3, we're going to make the background of the game move. So, we have a block here that says when run. This is a start block, so when we press run and start the code, anything under that block will start right away. So we want to set the speed to normal. Let's just see how fast this is when we press run. So as you can see, it's moving at a pretty normal speed. Let's click reset and change our speed. You have a lot of options. Let's see what very slow is like. You can see that this is a lot slower. Let's try one more thing. How about very fast? Whoa, that's moving really fast. So experiment with the speeds and see what you'd want. When you're done, if you get to the target, then you will move on. So let's go to the next step. For step 4, we're going to add obstacles. So we have a new green event block here that says when hit an obstacle. If you know how this game works, we want the game to end when you hit one of the green pipes, which are the obstacles. So let's grab our end game block and drag it underneath when hit an obstacle. If you hit run, there should be obstacles and you should try and avoid them. If you do hit an obstacle, the game should end. Let's try it. Here's our obstacle. And when we hit it, we fell. And that's what was supposed to happen. So, let's go to the next step and see what else we can add. In the next step, we're going to add a score counter. We have another green block here that says when pass obstacle. We also have a blue block that says score a point. So let's take that and drag it underneath when pass obstacle. Now, you can run your game, and when you get through an obstacle, you should get a point in the counter. Let's see. So here's our score counter, and let's start. Wow, so we got through the pipe, and we got a score of 1. So every time you go through a pipe, you'll get 1 more. Let's go to the next step. For step 6, we are going to customize how much the bird goes up when we click the screen. So we have our when click event block again, but here we have flap a normal amount. So instead of just being a flap, we can change how much we want the bird to move up. So let's try a small amount and see if we can still get through an obstacle like this. So you can see when you click the screen, it's a lot smaller than before. Let's try flapping a large amount. So every time we click the screen, the bird moves a lot further. So you can see that we're not really making it through these tubes anymore. I'm going to try going back to normal and see if I can do it. So I got through a pipe and it's giving us the go for the next step. So if you want to replay, you can keep experimenting with how much the bird moves up. Otherwise, we can move on to step 7. So in step 7, we have all of our normal functions back. You may have noticed that in the past couple steps, as we were experimenting with the different blocks, sometimes these went away just so that we could test one part of the program. Now we have all of our functions back, like I said. So we have the game ending when it's supposed to end, we have the point counter, and we have the flap amount that we just added. Now we're going to try and change something visually about the scene. So we have this new purple block that says set scene. If you put this underneath the when run event block, we can change the scene. I'm going to try the sci-fi one. Let's see what it looks like. I think that's pretty cool. If you want to keep looking at the other scenes, you can press replay and choose something else. How about cave? Ooh, this one's kind of scary. So try experimenting with the different backgrounds you can have for your game. When you're done, you can go to the next step. For this step, we're going to do a little bit more experimenting. So we still have our set scene block, but we can add it in places besides just the start block. So instead of putting it here, we could say, when you pass an obstacle, the city changes to a random background. So by putting this purple block here, now it occurs when we pass an obstacle. Let's try this and see what it looks like. It worked. So, if you want to keep experimenting with that, you can. They also added another block in this step that says set player. So, if you also want to add some more randomness, you can set the player to be different. There's a ton of options here. So I'm going to click random and let's see what happens this time. So you can see that my character changed when I went through the pipe. So let's go on to the next step and see what else there is. In this step, we're going to change another aspect of our game. Right now we have our score counter going up when we score a point, and then when we hit an obstacle, it was ending the game. Now, let's try changing it to when hit an obstacle, set score. So now the game will only end when you hit the ground, but if you hit a pipe, you'll still keep going, but your score is going to go back down to 0. Let's see how this works. So we got a point here, and it goes back to 0 when we touch the pipe. 1, 0. 1, 0. Like that. The last step of our game gives you a lot of freedom. As you can see, all of the event blocks now don't have anything underneath them. So you can go back and look at these blocks and customize the game however you'd like. They added some extra options, such as setting the ground to look different, setting the gap between the pipes to be different, changing what the obstacles are, and so much more. So I'm going to try and put something together, and I want you to do the same. This is what I decided to do. So I added some of my own things in here, and this is what happens now. I changed my background, I changed my obstacles to lasers, and something else that I added was that when I hit the ground, the gravity is lower, so you can see that the bird doesn't fall as much. You can experiment with lots in this game, and I want to see what you guys do. I hope you guys had fun during this week's Kids Who Code. I think the Flappy Bird game was really cool. If you have any questions, feel free to email us and I can respond in the next video or in that email. Have a great rest of your week and see you guys next time. Bye!